Hi, welcome to the program. My name is Andrew Morrison and I'm going to be showing you how to build this great little cottage over the course of this production. Now the things that I'll teach you in this production are specific to this structure, but they can also be taken to the next level. So if you want to build a bigger structure, if you want to build your house or a garage or a workshop, what you learn on this structure will translate to those buildings as well. So it's a great practice structure to get started, to work on your framing skills, to practice them, to really fine-tune things, and then move into a larger structure. We'll start with the toe-ups right down here at the foundation, and we'll work our way all the way up to the roof. Everything from posts and window framing, cutting rafters, roof sheathing, fascia, barge rafters, the whole shebang. Everything's going to be covered in this framing production. So when you first get your materials delivered to the site, they're going to show up basically like this. They'll be bundled together tightly in some cases. Other cases it'll just be loose material that's laid down on top. Now a really good idea is before you place your order is to figure out when are you going to need things. You're obviously going to want your toe-ups first, so you don't want to have your roof sheathing, for example, on top of your pile. Then you got to move everything just to get to the materials that you need. So I like to call the company when I'm placing my order and say, this is what I need and this is the order that I would like to have it stacked so that when it comes off the truck, it lands just how I need to use it. Now it's important to note when you're measuring something that you want to give a precise point to where that measurement actually lands. So for example here I come in 3.5 inches, I've marked my spot with what's called a crow's foot. It's 2 directional lines. The reason for that is that point where those 2 lines join, that's the measurement I'm looking for. If I were to come in here and say I wanted to put a measurement here and I go like that, the difference between this end, where I originally started the line, that looks like it's about 3 9/16. At this end, that's 3 3/4. So there's no way to know where along that line did I actually want my measurement to take place. If I know it's boom, right where I started there, and I do that coming the other direction, now I've got an accurate measurement of where that spot that I'm actually trying to measure to exists. That's the spot I'm going to. All right, now we're going to take our plate that we've got on here and our toe-up and tilt them over so we can do our layout. Now our layout is basically where we're marking out for our posts, our window king studs and trimmers, and then other posts down the wall. So we want to make sure everything's on one plate and the other exactly in the same spot. That way when we do stand our wall up and we connect everything together, and like I said earlier, we plumb one side, it plumbs the entire wall. So we'll start by tilting this piece over. And now we'll start with our layout. In this corner here we've got a 4x4 post, so that's the first thing we'll mark up here. We'll come over 3.5 inches for that post and mark it down. Now as I'm marking this, you'll notice I'm bringing my square, this is the speed square, bringing it all the way across both pieces of wood. There's my line, it's clear on both. I put an X to tell me that that's where this piece of wood goes. So now I know that those are exactly in the same spot. And the key at this time is to go take a quick break while your wife's holding on to the wall. It's kind of unfair. All right, so I've braced my corner differently now that I've got the perpendicular wall put in place here. First off, you remember when we built this first wall, the long wall, we had a 4x4 on the end here. Now the wall that adjoins it has a 2x4 at the end. Now, the reason I have it designed that way is that I can now sister this one on nice and tight, shoot it with nails all the way up, keeping it in plane and flush and making a nice solid corner. It also basically gives us enough backing so that when we come in on the inside with our box beam that we're going to create to be able to curve our bales up on the top here, we need to have something to nail that to, and that's what this is going to give us. It's giving us backing for that exact purpose. This is a great little tip for when you want to measure something at the top here for the beam. I want to measure for this top beam from the outside edge over to where it's going to split over the door here. Now if I measure it up there, I'll get an accurate measurement to what it is up in that spot. However, I'm going to measure down here at the bottom of the wall and pull it across. Okay, the reason I'm doing that, let me write the number down before I forget. The reason I do it that way is that this measurement on the concrete, we know that's a given number. That's a number that can't change. That concrete is solid. We snapped our lines, we put everything in place. When we measured all out, it matches up to plan. So if I get up top here and I set, let's say that piece there is 10 foot 2 inches long, and I set it up on top, and I pull the other measurement the other way, and it gives me the difference, whatever that would be, 6 foot 5 coming the other way to match the size of this structure. If they don't meet tight at the top, then something's out of plumb, because the measurement we take at the bottom of the wall should be exactly the same thing at the top of the wall. Now, we want to make sure that our ridge is running straight. It's a long wobbly board, so there's a lot of potential for it to have a little wobble all the way down the wall. So I try to put my Rafters on going down the line, one on each side all the way down the line, rather than doing one whole side and one whole side the other way. That way, if I missed anything in straightening my walls and my walls aren't perfectly straight, I don't translate that into my ridge beam as well. All right, with that cut out, now I'll just take my hammer and kind of beat these out of here. I want to be a little bit gentle so I don't fracture the wood down below where I want it to come out. Again, I can clean up the bottom with a chisel. So I'm just getting it close at this point, really. And just like with putting on a spare tire and the lug nuts of a tire wheel, I'm gonna go from here across. I don't want to do the top first and then the bottom. I want to make sure that I'm getting this nice and snug all the way across the building here. Okay, we're going to set our first piece of plywood to our snapped chalk line, which goes all the way down the building at 4 feet up from the fascia. You remember we snapped that line earlier on. We measured 46.5 inches from the edge of the rafter tails. If we check it now and pull from the edge of our fascia, it lines up perfectly 4 feet. That's going to be our starting point for our plywood. So you can see here that we've staggered our joint. There's my 1/8 inch spacer. You can see we've staggered our joints here with the plywood as we're applying it on. Started our row back here at a different span than what we originally started our first sheet at. So that gives us a nice staggered joints, gives us a much stronger roof. We'll continue that pattern all the way to the end. Well, I hope you had as much fun building your little structure and learning as I did. I know there's a lot of information in this DVD, and some of it may seem overwhelming right now, and that's fine. That's the joy of having a DVD. You can just rewind it. Or if it's an instant download, just rewind it. Either way. Watch it over and over again. Maybe watch it all the way through first, then go through and actually try building the structure, and you can come back to using this as a reference. It's a great option to have there as you're building. It's like I'm there on the job site with you to help you out, show you some of the details as we go. So thanks again for checking us out, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.